Your Majesties, Rector Blondel, Rector de Pape, Excellencies, distinguished faculty, staff and students, honored guests, my friends, thank you very much for this very kind and warm invitation. My dear friend, King Philip, Your Majesty, Queen Mathilde, I am greatly honored by your presence here today, and I know the heartfelt service and devotion you give your country and your people. And Professor Blondel and de Pape and everyone here, world-class scholars, cutting-edge leaders, top young people, it is dedication like yours that is Belgium's strength to get the people through times of trouble and create new hope. And I want to let you all know that your friends in Jordan are grateful to walk this path together with you all. I appreciate this opportunity to visit Lusail today. This center is world-renowned for its scholarship on Islam in the contemporary world. Dans le monde, this focus speaks to a vital concern, and that is the right and duty of Muslim men and women to play an integral role in their societies and the world. Today, as we fight global terror, I want to raise the alarm about the dangers of tensions between Muslims and non-Muslims. And I hope to invite your partnership in taking active, practical steps to defend the future that we all share. And let me begin by saying something I know that most of you know deep in your hearts. But it is necessary for all of us to be very clear about this. The horrific bombings in Brussels and in Paris are not part of Islam. Indeed, in the light of Islam, the perpetrators of these acts are criminals. They're not soldiers. More than 1,000 years before the Geneva Conventions, Muslim soldiers were ordered not to kill a child, a woman, an old person, a priest, not to harm a church, not even to destroy a tree. I'm a soldier, and I will tell you these principles hold today. Tolerance, compassion, the equal dignity of every person. These are the values I was taught, and they are what I teach my children, just as other Muslims do in Jordan and here in Belgium and beyond. And we cannot afford to be silent about this. We need to speak up boldly in public life, at work, at school, in social media, and more. And in this regard, let me praise the serious work done here at Lusail on behalf of coexistence. So, my friends, let us understand what is at risk. Today's Khawarij, the outlaws of Islam, want to shut the doors on the future for Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Their pursuit of power has victimized and displaced millions of innocents, the vast majority of whom are Muslims. Women have been enslaved, children have been exploited, minorities persecuted, thousands of prisoners slaughtered, tens of thousands murdered. The Khawarij have stolen national resources, closed schools, and destroyed global heritage sites. A world in which these groups are safe to operate can never be safe for the rest of us. They must be defeated. It is, in the first place, a war within Islam. Muslim countries are at the forefront. This is our duty to protect our religion, our values, and our future. But terrorist violence is equally global and a global concern for everyone. We cannot say this attack or kidnapping or violence in Africa is an African problem, or that crisis is a Middle East issue. Daesh, al-Nusra, al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, al-Shabaab, and others are part of one threat. And to address it, we need to recognize the complex linkages and pursue a collective, coordinated response. Cooperation in security and law enforcement is key, but it is only part of the answer. We need global economic partnership to support countries that are doing the right thing, and we need a new diplomatic push for global justice. The denial of Palestinian statehood is exploited by extremists worldwide. Threats to Jerusalem's Muslim and Christian religious sites and historic Arab identity have fueled global anger. And we must address the conflicts and weaknesses that the Khawarij use for cover in Syria, in Libya, in Iraq, Africa, Southeast Asia, and beyond. Success will open greater strategic space to meet threats elsewhere. Now, today's catastrophic refugee crisis also demonstrates how our challenges are interlinked. Jordan began facing this humanitarian disaster years ago, and it is having a dire impact on our people and economy. 1 out of every 5 people living in Jordan is a Syrian refugee. We host Libyans, Yemenis, Iraqis, Arab Christians fleeing Daesh persecution, and more. It is as if 1 or more than 2 million refugees were to enter Belgium in less than 5 years. All of us know the international refugee crisis would explode even further if regional hosts like Jordan could not fulfill our key roles. To support our sustainable development is essential, and we're working closely with Belgium and Europe to address this urgent need. So, my friends, in all these efforts, Europe has a vital leadership role. And after centuries of conflict, your people built a new future by dedicating your region to coexistence and inclusion. It is no coincidence that these values are targeted by extremists, whatever their creed. Mutual respect and mutual aid are essential to regional strength and security. And nowhere is this more important than in the Balkans. This area is Europe's front line against extremism and first line of your defense. The entire continent and beyond would suffer from its instability. No one must be allowed to use religious or another identity as a cover for extremist aggression. Now, Muslim-majority countries like Bosnia-Herzegovina, Albania, and Kosovo are working hard to preempt any such threat. They and their neighbors need support from all Europeans. Include them in an inclusive Europe. Make them pillars of European coexistence and moderation. Elsewhere in Europe, as well, harmony and coexistence and inclusion remain tremendously important. Challenges to your high principles must be resisted, and in this effort, every citizen of every background has a role to play. Europe's Muslims and non-Muslims need to see each other for who you are: neighbors, workmates, fellow citizens, part of Europe's strength and part of its future. My friends, I've been speaking about Europe, but what I say applies across the world, and especially between our regions. What happens on one side of the Mediterranean deeply affects the other. Europe and the Middle East have a shared role in shaping the future. So it is our responsibility to set a course of mutual respect and common cause. Thank you very much.